Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 22nd episode of the Collective Spotlight. Yet again, double feature, double booked. We have two amazing guests on here, one of which has been on the show before. But without any further ado, I'm going to introduce our first doctor on the show. We have Dr. Barron Bell. How you doing, Dr. Bell?
I'm doing good. It's like I'm Dr. Doom or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's great, right? We're talking superheroes. It's
Yeah,
great superhero name.
yeah. It is.
So, Dr. Bell, before we get into talking about your book and everything that you worked on, tell people a little bit about your background. I know that
Sure.
you are a professor at Liberty University. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. I am a professor of art and design at Liberty University and George Fox University. I'm a comic book nerd! Exclamation mark. Yeah, I mean, I've developed some courses on the bachelor's and the master's level, specifically dealing with art bending towards comics and also storytelling and structure and even comic book publication. So yeah, that's my thing. That's my wheelhouse.
Well, what a perfect head on our show, then, right, Dr. Bell?
Oh no! Listen, bro. I am a comic book nerd. I am not just into the story, but also the structure and all that. And man, listen, I can talk comic structure. I mean, there's this book that we use as a textbook from Scott McCloud called Understanding Comics,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm on that level with Scott. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like I break things down as far as just the details of
Yeah,
comic
well,
book
and
structure and all that.
you get it from the inside, kind of like me when I got here at the store. You know, I was a customer first, and now I
Mm.
work in a store. You read comics and loved it, and were a true nerd, and now you're
Oh
creating
yeah.
it, and you know what people
Yeah,
want.
I'm creating it. I teach it. So yeah, man, I'm definitely I'm all about it. I wouldn't elevate myself to the level of a purist. I have a brother who's a purist who, I mean, any change to anything, and he's kind of got a burr in his saddle. But but yeah, I'm all right.
So, talk to me a little bit. We just got these in. Hey, Brian Silverbacks stopped by. Brian's a good friend of the store too. We actually have a special Brian Silverbacks thing for the second hour of the show. But Dr. Bell, you have Dominion out. We just got them in
Yes,
store. Well, we got the A covers in store
yes,
recently. The variants are on their way to us.
yes.
But talk to me a little bit about Dominion. I've heard you be talking passionately about this. So
Oh
tell
yeah.
people about it.
Dominion, oh my gosh, man, where do I start? Dominion is a sci-fantasy space opera that is inspired by the book of First Samuel in the Bible. And here's the thing, okay, I have to kind of like break this down and explain it because a lot of people don't understand where I'm coming from. If you like Game of Thrones, you're going to love Dominion. If you love Star Wars and Dune, Battlestar Galactica, Robotech, Transform, I can name all of it because all of this stuff is stuff that I loved that I put into the book. the the direction I come from though is because listen, man, it's hard to do a new idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. There's a lot of competition out there, tons. So I've been in the comic book game for almost 20 years. Part of that time I spent with Terminus Media doing my previous book, Radio Free America.
Okay.
Now, after that time, I kind of stepped away from the game a little bit, got my PhD, developed courses, just doing other things. But then when I wanted to get back in the game, I said, well, I want to do something different. But different is hard, man, because there's so much stuff out there.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And so, but I said, okay, and I tell all this to my students and to people who ask, it's like, as a writer, the best thing you need to do is write what you know, write what's close to you, write what you care about. And, I'm a Christian, so I care about the Bible. And I love those stories in the Bible that are rich, that have been told and retold and retold
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in many different ways. A lot of it kind of outdated, outmoded, swords and sandals, stuff like that. Okay, I get that, right? I said, let me take a story from the Bible and flip it and adapt it And that's where Dominion came from. Dominion is basically taking the story of the rise of the kingdom of Israel with the first king, King Saul.
Mm-hmm.
How different is that from Game of Thrones, right? Ned Stark. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So you take that and then you elevate it by I hit the major plot points in the biblical text, but then I take it and elevate it to take the narrative creatively elsewhere.
Okay.
So we're talking about Saul. We're talking about Saul's decline and madness because he goes nuts and he tries to kill David, and then we get to David, and then of course David has a son Solomon. So you hit those plot points, but we take it to outer space,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we add spaceships and mechs and all that other stuff, and more importantly, all of the characters are anthropomorphic characters. They're animals.
Yes.
And so the reason why I did that, thank you for showing that, is because with humans, people bring a bias when they see a black man. They bring a bias when they see a white person, Asian, Latino, Arab. You know what I'm saying? People
Yeah.
bring their own biases when they see these characters. But you don't bring a bias when you look at a lion. A lion is, what I'm saying? The lion is a lion. Now,
Yeah.
some people have told me, oh, I see Africa in the lion. So some Africans have told me, thank you for the lions, because they remind me of my country, whatever, or black people and
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. And I get that. And, people can kind of transpose their own experience onto certain animals, I guess. But animals are benign. You know what I'm saying? And C.S. Lewis, who wrote the Chronicles of Narnia, basically was saying how you can deliver a whole lot of truth, human truth, through animals.
Yes.
And so I basically take advantage of that. And so you got the whole animal kingdom
Yep.
up in Dominion.
And what I love is you are not, you're not our first anthropomorphic animal book on the collective initiative shelf. Mm-hmm. What I love, though, is the other book would be 47 Furious Tales from William Samuel Quentin. Okay. It's funny, though, because those things are on complete other sides of the spectrum. You have a space opera. He has a Ronin tale, okay. So they're completely different.
I'm down for the Ronin tale. I'm down for it. Yeah.
And honestly, it's like it's funny. It's one of those things where it's like, they are totally their own things, but because they're anthropomorphic animals, heck, one day I could see a Dominion 47 Fierce Tales crossover, right there.
Universe crossover.
Dr. Bell, I have to ask, I want to say I heard you. So first of all, I have to give a shout out to Pops Van Zant and Comics Related Madness. That's how I found you. And I want to say on his show, might have been CromCon 8, maybe. You were talking about Dominion, and you said that it was kind of your excuse to get to write a Star Wars story.
Yeah, totally. You know what, man? Listen, I've been watching The Mandalorian recently. Probably one of my favorite shows on TV.
Right now. I think we all have.
and The Mandalorian came out after Dominion launched. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is great because people are already in that headspace. They're loving that stuff. And so it's like, as I'm doing this, Dominion is my Star Wars.
Okay.
Dominion will be some child's Star Wars. Okay. So if you have a kid, or whatever, they're growing and they're reading books and whatever, and they pick up Dominion and their eyes are like, boom. And like, oh my gosh. And so it's going to be kind of like their Star Wars. That's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to create my own version of Star Wars because I saw Star Wars back in the movie theater. Now I'm dating myself. I'm a little old. You know what I'm saying? I saw the first Star Wars in the movie theater. Okay. Back in 77. And my mind was blown. I mean, I've never recovered after that experience, obviously, because I'm still talking about Star Wars later, almost 50 years later. But what I'm saying is that, that experience about just seeing something so fantastic in telling a story that was so foreign to me at the time, but had become beloved, and introducing characters that have become my family, and my first experience understanding what evil is. You know what I'm saying? those things, and of course nuanced, of course, because Darth Vader was not purely evil, but it's the nuance that I kind of understood as I grew and developed and matured, especially as a storyteller. So I wanted to be able to replicate that experience for new viewers and young readers out there who are getting into comics and eventually, motion pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, so what's funny is you talked very passionately about Star Wars, and you talked about being able to see it in the theaters. One of the things, and granted, I was able to see Phantom Menace in theaters. So, myself there. But so apparently, one of the things that in any documentary or any video I've ever watched about Star Wars, the original trilogy, when people went to the movie theaters, they walked out kind of amazed. Oh my God, the special effects, all these. The art in this is absolutely no slouch.
Thank you.
And I'm saying that because Dr. Bell is not just the writer of the book; he's the penciler as well. Pencils and inks, or just pencils?
For book one, I did pencils.
You did pencils.
Yes.
So, what's it like being such a Renaissance man? No, I'm just kidding. But no, what's it like having to do both sides of that book? I can imagine it adds a little bit of strain to that.
You know what? Here's the thing. As an artist, now I started out just doing art. I started drawing when I was 8 years old. So I was drawing on walls and drawing on everything. And so my parents didn't know what to do with me. So they had to start investing in my talent. So buying me pad paper, paintbrushes, and whatever.
Yeah.
And I grew up with that. And, this is the thing. I understood what I wanted to do even at 8 years old. I wanted to be in art, in comics. I wanted to tell stories. I knew I wanted to do that. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I wanted to do that. And so as I was going through my teen years, I just started consuming movies. I'm a cinephile. So
Okay.
I just love movies. I'm the dude that will be by himself in the back of the movie theater. Well, when we used to be able to go to movie theaters, in the back of the movie theater with my popcorn, just enjoying it. And I'd be the dude that would go repeatedly during the week to the movie theater by myself. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a cinephile. I love story. I love movies. And then of course that, I love comics, and, my eldest brother introduced me when I was at a very young age, very impressionable. And so, so that part of it. So those two sides kind of went in tandem as I grew and started to develop and grow a love for art and story. So I can't have one without the other. Now, I'm a very visual person.
Okay.
So when I read my comics, I want the art to be like on point. The art needs to be on point, because if it's not, it loses me.
It
You know
can
what I'm
take
saying?
away from a story. It very much can. That's why I wanted to emphasize it. And I mean, I don't want to show off anything necessarily from the book, but you have some pinups in the back. And I mean,
Yeah, King Saul in his power armor.
He's not just drawing these animals, man. I mean, the armor has detail on detail. And actually, what's really cool, you've mentioned how it's a little bit of everything, but you have armor on here that's very futuristic. Reminds me of like you said, Star Wars, reminds me of Halo from the video games. But then you add a lot of old, like the Game of Thrones aspects. I can see, like you add like a kind of like a not a sash, but like that.
Yeah.
And so I mean, this is a mixture of a lot of things that influenced you growing up, I'm assuming, right?
It's a hybrid. So just like the movie Dune, or even with Star Wars to a certain extent, you are mixing the ancient with the advanced. Both of those things crash together in a lot of those stories. It gives it a sense of legacy. It gives it a sense of foundation. It makes it feel old but new at the same time. And that's really what I love about those stories. It's like, man, it feels rich. And the thing is, I'm developing a world. I'm world building when I'm doing Dominion. I'm world building. So I'm taking the launch pad of the biblical narrative and all that entails, even from the design of some of the armor. I will look at. I love Pinterest, so
Yeah.
I'm all about visual reference. So
Yeah.
when I design armor, I will look at like, okay, mech armor design, and then I'll look at ancient Israeli battle armor.
Okay.
So I'll look at those and I'll say, okay, how can I kind of merge that look together? And so I'm a historian as well. So I go back in history and as I'm reading the Bible, I'm also reading any type of uh, secondary, tertiary source material that I can find related to that time period, so I can make it authentic.
Okay.
So like especially when I'm looking at architecture, so I'll go to Egyptian architecture and even fashion around that time. So I will go to Babylonian architecture or fashion or whatever. I'll look at archival data so I can kind of see, and then of course I mix it with the futuristic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the thing is, you do this so well. Is this you said you worked on another book with Terminus before this, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So how many credits? How many credits you got under your belt? Because this, I mean, I know you're putting this out yourself. Technically, you guys are on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. We actually launched the first book through our website terminusmedia.com, and the second book is through Indiegogo and Terminus Media. So Terminus, yeah, I've been with Terminus for ever since 2009. Did my first book with them. They're a small publisher located in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
And so Radio Free America is my first real published work. And then I have another book that I self-published back in 2001, a long time ago, called Cobalt Warrior Angel. So really, I guess you could say it's two officially published titles,
Mhm.
one unofficial title, and I'm working on another project right now. Seems to be like the project that never ends. It's a biographic graphic novel about the life and times of Frederick Douglass, based on
Whoa.
his autobiography. And so that is in production, and hopefully it will be out of production next year, but we'll see. I'm working with another artist who's a little bit oppressed, so that's been having a lot of issue.
But
Hey, Pops.
yeah,
That's
Pops.
all.
I
What
gave
up,
Pops a shout
Pops?
out. Honestly, none of this probably would happen without Pops because he's helped introduce me to a ton of you guys. Half of the collective initiative has
Pops
been
is amazing. I love Pops.
it's the enthusiasm, right, man? I mean, there's not you can't buy that. You can't buy that.
Mhm.
You can't teach that.
No.
So another fun thing I want to talk to you about it, and I know we haven't gotten the books here in the store just yet, but you have pioneered this, and honestly, between the collective initiative and just people published through Diamond, I want to say you're the first one that's doing this with a single issue. You've translated your book. You've
Oh
translated
yeah.
Dominion. There is for sure a Spanish translation, and you were working on a Portuguese translation, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
we actually finished the Portuguese translation. We just have to get them. They're being printed. The Spanish, I think they've been printed. Printing is so slow with COVID. It's just like
Yeah.
so ridiculous. So we have the Spanish books. They're coming, and as soon as I get them, you're gonna get them. Portuguese translation is already done. Uh, those both are actually on the website terminusmedia.com for digital download. So you can buy them already, Spanish and Portuguese. And then, of course, we have our international store. I just got an email from someone who wants it translated into Romanian as
Oh,
well. We have on the slate German translation, French translation as well, and Arabic as well. So we have all these translations set up to happen, but we got to do one at a time. So
yeah.
we have a very small team. So it's like we're working with individuals who are native speakers, so that when we do translate it, it flows and it hits the way it needs to hit.
So you mentioned that, like you said, you had some requests for like Romanian and stuff like that. But where did the original idea to have it be done in something other than English? Where did that come about? I mean, I'm Hispanic myself, so I
Yeah,
can only imagine going Hispanic kind of or going to Spanish. There are a lot of people in Spanish speaking countries that are familiar with Bible stories, so I felt like that's
yeah.
natural. But did that play a role in it?
Yeah, absolutely. I got an email from a gentleman, a producer in Sao Paulo, and he loved Dominion, and he's like, "Bro, we got to get this in Brazil. We got to get it Spanish version." And so we are in talks for expanding our market to Brazil sometime next year, doing one of the expos down there because man, listen, those those dudes and girls in Brazil, they are fans,
Oh yes.
comic book fans, and it's crazy. And so yeah, that's going to be a huge boost for Dominion. But yeah, I did not know when I started this how it would affect people. I was just getting it out because it's like, oh man, I just need to get this out. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a story in me. It was something I've always loved, the book of First Samuel and the story, and it feels like an epic. It's an epic because I mean, and honestly, if you really translated it verbatim in real life, it would be more gory than Game of Thrones. I mean, you got
Yeah.
people getting their head cut off. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like it's an epic, but I wanted to elevate it and do something that I loved. But when I did it, um, I wasn't sure how it would be received. And so I said, okay, well, we'll just, I talked with my publisher. He said, okay, we're gonna go ahead and do it, and then we'll see what happens. And we put it out, and people just started loving it. And because of that biblical tie, there's something about that, because of course the Bible is one of the best selling books of all
Yeah.
time, right?
Yeah.
So everybody knows about it, which makes Dominion easy to sell. But people have some type of vested interest because of where they come from. Now, I'm not a Catholic, but the Bible is also a Catholic book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not Jewish, but the first 5 books of the Bible is the Torah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not Islamic, but we share a patriarch in
Yeah.
Abraham. You know what I'm saying? And so there's so many cross ties with the Bible that touches so many different people. When they find out what Dominion is really about, it's like, oh, quite cool.
Yeah.
Where's my copy? You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
so we see the need, and we see the desire,
Yeah.
and we see, it's just a mission. And if I can get people interested in reading the Bible, hey, that's a side benefit.
Mhm.
So even if they don't, you still get a good story.
You
You know
got
what I'm
it.
saying?
Yeah. And I want to say, one of the first because like I said, when I was introduced to you, I was introduced as a fan. Our first interactions were me just wanting your book.
Yeah.
But what I thought is, and it shouldn't go, especially, our store here is in Central Florida. We have a big Brazilian and Hispanic population. Drop out. You still with me, Dr.
I'm
Bell?
with you. You just kind of just cut
Okay.
out just briefly.
Okay.
You froze up. We're having some technical difficulties. I think we are definitely having some technical difficulties.
I'm still here. I'm sorry.
And he's back. Okay, good.
Uh,
Like, no, what
I
happened?
had internet. I had internet issues here. Anyway,
Okay,
back to the beginning of my story.
sure.
I'm first generation American, so I've read books in nothing but English my whole life.
Mhm.
I've occasionally seen reprints in Spanish of things like The Killing Joke. I think they
Yeah.
did that in Mexico. But when I first was introduced to you, I think the first thing that stuck out to me is that I can buy this book here in English and I can read it.
Mhm.
And I can grab the Spanish language version from you, and this works just as well for our Brazilian friends with the Portuguese version.
Mhm.
And you can grab that and you can gift that to a grandparent
That's right.
or your parent
That's
even, because
right.
as a first generation American, my mom still reads in Spanish.
Mhm.
And this is potentially the first time that I've been able to do that, hand over something and be able to have a dialogue about it.
That's right.
The language barrier is very real, and it is there, and it does separate a lot of people sometimes from
Yeah.
their hobbies and their interests. So I think
Mhm.
it doesn't go without being said that what you're doing with changing, and I know it's probably a lot of work. You're
Yeah.
probably in meetings with guys, and
Mhm.
you're sitting here on Zoom.
Mhm.
But I do want to say thank you. I guess I
Oh
really
yeah,
do want.
absolutely. Man, listen, I'm a college professor, so I love to teach. But I'm also, like I said, I'm a comic book nerd. I'm a comic book fan. So I love sharing these types of stories in a way that can transcend generations. And if you can, share this book with your, abuela or anybody else, you know what I'm saying? I mean, share with anybody who is interested and have that connection that, listen, my pops passed away several years back. Okay. I always have this kind of sense of loss because he was a sci-fi fan.
Hmm.
So every time I watch The Mandalorian, I'm like, man, Dad would have loved this. Dad would have loved this. You know what I'm saying? Or Star Trek Discovery or whatever. It's like, man, we used to watch those things together, those franchises.
Yeah.
And so to be able to kind of bring a family together, you know what I'm saying? It's really a blessing for me as a writer to be able to do that. And there's so many points in Dominion that people can relate to because I always say Dominion is about war, but it's also about family. And so, this kind of inward and outward
Yeah.
conflict.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, again, like I said, I had to say thank you because like you talked about, and I have an older brother and whatnot, and we played sports together and we had those moments. But outside of the things that have no language barrier, like sports and things like that, I've never been able to really share in a hobby like that
Mhm.
with my parents. So this will be a first, honestly, for me, and I'm super excited to be able to share your book really with my grandpops.
And I'm happy about that. And you know what though? I mean, I don't know if you have kids or not, but the thing I always tell people is, you read it, but then read it with your kids because Dominion is family friendly.
Yeah, yeah.
We are very aware of the type of story we want to tell. We want it to be compelling. We want it to be action packed, but we actively lean away from objectionable material. So we have very strong women characters, but we don't objectify them, which is one of the reasons why my first book didn't go with Diamond because they were like, oh, it's not flashy enough, and so yeah, I have my own Diamond horror stories, but uh, my whole thing is as a storyteller, I see this kind of a moral decline, especially in our stories, and it's like this embrace of the anti-hero is I think kind of detrimental to society as a whole. So one of the things that we do at Terminus is we make a dedication to trying to reframe the narrative in a
Okay.
way, so that I'm not saying that you out there doing the explosions and
Yeah.
and all that other, all that. Well, you do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Do what you do. I'm not downing you. I'm not judging you. I'm not
Yeah.
downing you. I'm just saying that's not what I do.
Yeah.
What I do is something that's more family friendly. I think that there's a race to the bottom when it comes down to telling heroic stories. It's a race to the bottom, in my opinion. Okay. And so I choose to say, okay, we're not going to objectify women. We're going to uplift them. We're going to make them powerful, but not in a sexual way, because there's more power to women
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
just their sex. You know what I'm saying? And so make them smart, make them funny, make them tactically brilliant. And so those are the things we do with Dominion. And so, we tell these great stories, and I want you to be able to share it with your kids. I want you to be able to sit down and open up Dominion, read it with your kids. If there's a word that your child is unfamiliar with, here's a teaching opportunity. This is a bonding moment for you to explain, oh, this is what this word means. This is what this scene means. If it's a little bit powerful or a little bit scary at times, because there will be some scary moments
Yeah.
for little kids, you can say, it's okay, this is what's happening. Because I truly believe I don't want to shelter our children too much from the fact that there is evil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so Dominion is going to show a clear delineation between here's good and then here's evil.
Yeah. So I got just a minute or two left, but I do want to ask you something because what you just said segues perfectly into this.
Mm-hmm.
One time when you were with, I want to say it was again with Pops on CromCon,
Mm-hmm.
you once mentioned, everybody's kind of got not necessarily their agenda, but they've got things that they want to talk about in their books.
Mm-hmm.
But where you can really lose a reader is when you start hitting them over the head with it, and you leave the story.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've figured out a way to have a lesson for in your class and things like that? Because I feel like that is big in the comic community right now.
Yeah. No, man. That's what I teach. I teach that, listen, as a Christian media sucks for that very reason. Is because you lead with the message. If you have a message, that's fine, but don't lead with the message. No one wants to feel like they're being preached to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Tell story first. Focus on great characters. Develop them. And then if you have a moral that you're trying to deliver, infuse that into the DNA of the story and of the characters. And it'll come out. People aren't stupid. You know what I'm saying? We underestimate our readers too much, so we try to narrate every single thing.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to give away every single thing blatantly. Just infuse it in the story and people will pick it up. So, I lead with good characters, solid characters.
Yes.
If you throw solid characters into a world, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I wanted to hear that from you because I know that you've kind of taught it, and I mean, who's a better person to talk about it with than you?
Hey, yeah.
But again, the book is Dominion: Fall of the House of Saul, #1. Dr. Bell, tell people about it one more time, real quick, what they can expect.
Yeah, man. It is Star Wars meets Chronicles of Narnia, Game of Thrones. It's pretty much kind of like a smash up. And it's just a lot of just political intrigue. Dominion is on the brink of war. The Philistines are chomping at the gate, and the king is spiraling into madness. The son seeks the approval of his dad, who's a narcissist. The princess, she doesn't want to just be a princess. She wants to fight. And then the queen is silently holding everything together behind the scenes. So that's really what Dominion is. Chapter 2 is coming out in digital right before Christmas. And so we're working feverishly to finish that up. Print editions will be available in January. We have cool Chrome editions coming out as well, and in a very cool hardback binder. That's a special edition as well. Yeah, you can find that out on www.terminusmedia.com. If you go directly there, you can find all of that.
Perfect. And we have copies. So we have the main cover. We have both the collector's edition, which is done on this really nice cardstock here. And then we have the regular stock covers as well. And they all come signed.
We're
going to have those real soon.
The special variant cover. So only at Collective you guys and one other comic book store in Seattle have these, or
So
will
we're
have
the
these.
East Coast exclusive of that
You are
cover
the
right
East
there.
Coast exclusive of the variant cover. Nobody else had. Nobody. You can't even get that on the website.
Yep.
So
Awesome.
it's like, no, man, no, go to Collective. Y'all, you won't be dissatisfied.
It is
Guaranteed.
sitting right there on the top of our collective initiative shelf, which is a sticker that says Danny loves this. So thank you so much, Dr. Bell. The book is Dominion. We have it here at the collective, Terminus Media, Dr. Barron Bell. Thank you so much for your time. We will definitely have you back on the show sometime
You're
soon.
welcome. Man. Thank you. Very honored, my friend.
Yes, take it easy, Dr. Bell. Thank you. So that was Dr. Barron Bell from Dominion and Terminus Media. Dominion is one of our newest collective initiative books. Get it while you can. Comes signed. We have these covers, and that cover that Dr. Bell just showed should be coming in by the end of this week. We do have tracking on it, but it is holidays plus the pandemic, so things are a little slow. But again, thank you to Dr. Bell. We have Dominion here in store. Now, my next guest has been on the show before. He's like kind of famous, I guess. Like he writes bylines, like he's published. His name's Adam Barnhardt. How are you, Adam?
Famous. Nobody's ever called me famous before. I'm not famous.
Right.
You're more famous. You're the one with the show. What the hell are you talking about,
I'm
man?
sure if you wanted a show, I'm sure they'd give you a show.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm writing a book called TSHOW. How much clout can I have? You know, the clout is in short supply around here.
Without any further ado, Adam's been on the show before. We talked about TSHOW back when the ash can was kind of still in circulation, and this had been kind of pushed back to December. We are now in December, and I am physically holding the book. How does it feel, Adam? I know with the pandemic and everything, you've had some changes, like everything has happened.
It's taken a while, man. It's taken a while, and we're here. It feels weird. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't feel like it comes out tomorrow. I'll say I feel totally unprepared and feel like I should have done more and more outreach and more interviews and more chit chat and more stuff with retailers and such. But I think that's just kind of my mindset about everything, and I'm feeling pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you weren't gonna be happy. You weren't gonna be happy no matter what, because you were already preparing for this to be released like 2 weeks ago.
Right. Yeah, I was. We were doing that, and then that's the way the cookie crumbles. It
was. We got ours week and a half ago, week or so ago. But what we got just today, just today.
Oh my goodness! Look at that.
Officially in hand, the collective store exclusive. Our logo there. Then we got Frigid Bridget right there. With that awesome line from Mikey back in the day in the Goonies. But yeah, this is our friend Brian Silverbacks, who is everybody's favorite jabroni. But he was able to do this for us. And I'm honored because, Adam, me and you have been talking. I mean, I think I joked last time you were on the show that we've been talking back and forth for a while. I felt like you were like a friend of mine already. But we kept talking after the release of the book as I was going to put our orders in and everything like that. And Brian was in town for the recount signing. And he's like, hey, man, I did a shit show exclusive, or I did a shit show cover. I don't think it ever got used. And, light bulb came on and I said, we can use it. And, we did. So, we are one of, was it 3 stores that did store exclusives, if you include Shopping Network?
If you include Facebook groups, it's 4. I'm trying to think which ones actually are Facebook groups and have like an actual retail brick and mortar store.
Yeah. So I know there's ours, there's Lizzie's, and there's Comic Book Shopping Network.
And then there's the Hive Comics group.
Hive. That was the other one. I knew there was one more. And Hive is actually, we're hoping to get caught up with them and work on some collaborative stuff, because I think a lot of our collective initiative books have actually ended up in the Hive as well. So there's a little bit of crossover there. Yeah.
Look at that. Crossovers everywhere.
Everything goes full circle in the comic industry.
It does, man. It's the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon's game, right? Or whatever. You only need like 1 degree of comic books before someone knows a guy. So.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Because like, I mean, I didn't know you knew Brian Silverbacks. So like, boom, there was a connection that I didn't know.
I know Brian very well.
Yeah, I'm sorry for you. But just because it's been a while since we had you on the show, tell everybody what Shit Show kind of is, and tell them about the McCoys.
It is, as Rich Woodall says, it's the perfect start to a comic series. I think who was it? Eric Palicki gave me a pull quote too and said it's the perfect comic for the year.
It is.
Let the record reflect. I didn't know what kind of year 2020 was going to be before we decided to call it Shit Show. I'm not sure if that's part clairvoyancy or what the hell the deal is. Essentially, it's on the most microscopic level, it's drunk carnies with superpowers, or I should say at least one drunk carny with superpowers. It is a superhero book. It is a cape book, and it takes place in a world where there used to be a lot of superheroes, and now there's no longer as many superheroes or supervillains. And that's kind of what the series does. It takes a look at that, and it builds out this world. And I don't want to give too much away, but it looks at why there aren't any heroes anymore.
So one of the things that we get introduced to in the first issue is the original team. I'm not sure. I think you gave them a name, but I'm drawing a blank.
Legends Legion.
Yes, the Legends Legion. And then we meet, kind of the new wave. We meet the new kids on the block, right? Talk to me a little bit about what was your inspiration in this book, because like a little bit of me sees that these kids could be very, for lack of a better terms, Goonie-esque or Stranger Things-esque, where they're going on adventures. But a part of me also sees this as being a like an Elseworld, for lack of a better term, an Elseworld Justice League, where everything went to, lack of a better term, shit. Right. But tell me, what were your inspirations on these characters?
You hit the nail on the head there with Goonies, man. Goonies is my favorite movie of all time. It's everyone loves a good coming of age tale. Another part of the aspect was Shameless. If you've seen Shameless, I really like that show, and it's a real. It's a real life look at people, and I wanted to mesh that with the world of comic heroes. And that's kind of the basis, at least in terms of like well-known inspirations, I guess. You have the Frank Millers and the Black Hammers of the comic world. But yeah, Goonies and Shameless were right there for the inspiration, at least when it comes to the Magnificent McCoys.
I love that you mentioned Shameless, because I actually did. When I was like, who are we cross-pulling this for? I'm like, anybody who likes Shameless, right? I'm like, that's not something that we keep track of here in the store, but anybody who likes Shameless, I think would love this book. Yeah.
And that was kind of my initial thought process, was like, let's give the Gallaghers superpowers.
What it reminds me of a little bit, only like that much, but Hancock, because Hancock is a terrible guy.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so when I read this book, because I read it, man, you sent me that PDF. That would have been 2 months ago now, probably. But when I read this, I remember thinking to myself, and correct me at any point if I'm wrong, but as a DC Justice League fan, I'm going to put it in the terms that I know my nerdy friends will understand it. Shit Show to me is almost like Justice League, fought Starro in their first ever adventure. There's that famous cover. They fought Starro. They beat Starro. But Starro swears he's going to come back and he's going to, screw him up. And this is kind of he came back and it's done. Like it's something is about to happen. Is that kind of right where I'm at?
That's essentially what it is, man. It's the villain of this first volume is Balaam, and like I said, this world had hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of powered beings. You know, both hero, both villain, and Balaam is the most dangerous person they've gone up. Well, he's not a person, as you'll quickly see. The most dangerous being entity they came up against, and that sets legend our protagonist Rich McCoy on his path, on his spiral, and it's a twofer, man. You know, Balaam 1.0 set him on the spiral, and he reaches rock bottom. So what happens when you're at rock bottom and the thing that set you on the spiral comes back again? And that's very much what TSHOW Volume 1 explores.
And it's kind of the perfect storm because, like you said, you know, he's hit rock bottom, and then here comes his, you know, kind of worst enemy, you know, worst nightmare.
Right. You will see. Obviously, there are two bouts with Balaam. You know, it's the whole Tyson Holyfield type thing all over again. And yeah, we explain it all.
So before I forget, because I will forget, you were clearly working with the best named letterer in the business in Letter Squids. I had to mention that because when I saw that, I'm like, is that right? And then I saw Letter Squids on Twitter, and then, you know, I put everything together. But I have to give kudos to Letter Squids for having like the best name for a letterer like ever.
I couldn't believe it the first time we hopped on a Zoom chat. It's an actual squid with a computer typing away in Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop and stuff, and it's like it's crazy, but I don't know how. Like, it's like in a zoo somewhere, and this squid said, "You know what? I like comics so much, I want to letter it." So
I'm gonna letter Squids might make an appearance in TSHOW later. You know.
Yes. Villain Volume 2.
Yeah. But so I had a chance to, so a lot of Scout books tend to be miniseries, one shots, miniseries, nonstop, and it goes straight to trades. I had a chance to talk to you when we were doing the ordering about your plans for the series, without, you know, giving, you know, tons of things story-wise away. You're planning on writing this book for a while if they allow you to.
I hope so. If they allow me, man. They allowed me to call it Shit Show. They allowed me, I'm not sure if you saw me post on Facebook, but they allowed me to do Rich Woodall's butt cover as a variant. So we'll see, man. Yeah, I have lots of stuff planned, and I always keep coming back to the world. You know, there's so many heroes, and we explored them some here, but this is very much TSHOW proper is very much Rich McCoy's tale. So there's a lot to be explored elsewhere. I started last night, started in earnest on this. It makes TSHOW look pretty tame in and of itself. So we'll see if that could get past the thing. I might have to send Andrea and James Hake some Christmas cookies or something.
Speaking of making TSHOW look kind of tame, so, and there's another, you know, surprise that I'll get to later, but there's a backup story in this.
Yes, there is.
Featuring, what did we call them? They're the Killer Bears from Outer Space.
Yes.
That is also an Adam Barnhardt creation, correct?
It is, yes. Created by Adam Barnhardt. That is an Adam Barnhardt creation. Completely different interiors. The author of Pod, known as Letter Squids, does do the lettering, but the Luca Pinelli is the interior artist on that, and it's just a 4-issue short story about these aliens that look like bears, and something happens to them, and they become the most effed up Rob Liefeld dream ever.
They have lots of pockets. I'm looking, and they've got pockets.
They do have pockets, and they do have ammo belts, and they have.
And your artist, because they're bears, your artist didn't have to draw feet. So that's very well
Look at that.
right there.
Yep. So there's that's in every single cover too. Every iteration is the Killer Bear short story, and that may or may not have to do something with what I just mentioned about working on a spinoff or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna since it's only a 4-page backup, I'm not gonna say anything about it.
Right.
But people will like it, and comic fans will. I don't know if I could call them Easter eggs. To me, it was an Easter egg because after I read it, I immediately texted you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some cool comic nods to things that we've all probably read in our lifetime in there.
Yes. It is it's designed to be the most meta thing ever. It's Deadpool on drugs. So we'll see how it'll probably wear thin very easily with some people, but we'll see. We'll take it by year.
So, Adam, I have to go to the front of the store to grab the other surprise. So while I run there and my face isn't here, I do want to hear you talk about what your comic book influences were just growing up. What were you picking up off of the shelves back in the day and things like that?
My comic influences, I do. There's no story I like more than Born Again. Frank Miller's Daredevil is just some of the best comic stuff ever written. I really enjoy Frank. As you'll see, his narrative structure really is a huge influence. At least when in issue 1 here, you'll see tones of that throughout. And I always go back to it's newer stuff. I always go back to Jeff Lemire's Black Hammer as well, especially when fleshing out this world and fleshing out this title further past volumes 1 through so and so the main story. So those are the 2 biggest ones. The outside of Born Again, that mid 2000s Abnett and Lanning cosmic stuff is like Annihilation Conquest. Is just incredible storytelling, and I absolutely love that. And I'm surprised the first published comic I ever did wasn't this cosmic story, because I'm just a sucker for all things cosmic. Well, it kind of is. We had a short story a little bit. Well, that's kind of sort of cosmic.
Then I have to ask. I mean, it's a superhero, like you said, it's a cape book.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see yourself going cosmic with Shit Show and the McCoys?
I can't say.
Oh, right.
Do I see myself? Of course I see myself. When and where and how and whatnot. Hell yeah. They're going to go to space someday. Yeah. I mean, Fantastic Four is going, or not Fantastic Four, Fast and the Furious is going to space. Tom Cruise is going to space with his new movie. Hell yeah.
Fast and the Furious go to space. We can probably make any scout book go to space, right?
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you right now, record this, and this isn't insider information. I just have a good hunch. By John Wick 7, John Wick will also be in space.
And just we will have that story written by Adam Barnhardt on comicbook.com, right?
Yes,
so before I show off this surprise thing, I do have to ask you. So you write comics, but you've also, I believe, you just celebrated your 2-year anniversary at your day job. Which is also
I did. Are we friends on LinkedIn or something? Or where'd you see that?
Dude, I think it was Facebook. You were like, yeah. I'm like, I'm an old guy. No, I'm just kidding. But I do think I saw you say, I think you were like, I can't believe I've really been here 2 years.
Maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, you write for comicbook.com. Is that correct?
That is. I've been there 4 years, 2 years full time. That's been the fastest 2 years ever, man. This year hasn't helped. It's been the shortest, longest year ever. It's just weird. The days go by quick, but I don't know. It's the days, I don't know. So yeah, 2 years, comicbook.com. That's the day job, and that's certainly keeps me busy as well.
Nice. And for them, do you get to write? I know you get to write like reviews, but you also get to write like interesting things. I think the other day, oh my God, what was it that you wrote the other day and you shared it and I laughed a lot? You get to write like the fun things for them as well.
Yeah, the Annihilus piece where I was making fun of the space bug. Yeah, I made the case for Annihilus being the first Fantastic Four villain in the MCU, which needs to happen. If you don't agree with me, I'll quit the show right now. Annihilus needs to happen. I love the guy so much. And I want to see him in live action and as campy as he is. And I don't, I'm not going to say it. Go read it. It's on my Facebook, so go read it.
And you're on Twitter. And I know that's where you get to share a lot of your stuff. I mean, Twitter is that easier one to share. Is your Twitter is at Adam Barnhardt, right?
It is. It is, yes.
So find the man on Twitter. So now for the cool surprise, and you held on to this. Well, you and Scout held on to this for a lot longer than I thought you guys were.
They won't tell me, man. I was ready to talk about it back in June.
So they let's see, we ordered it for December, so it would have been October's retailer email. So it's in October's retailer email, so at least the retailers know.
Right.
But in conversations with you, it seemed like you weren't sure if we were allowed to know yet. So and Scout didn't announce it until like a month after the orders were in. So I guess they just wanted to make sure they had enough. But so Scout has done secret covers in the past.
Yes.
Typically, they were VHS covers. Scout's doing something a little different with yours. And there are none on eBay. So I don't know how many people even know that this is out. But this is for every 10 you order through Scout, you got one of these. And it is a flip book with a Christmas story in it.
Yes.
That Christmas story is not in here.
It's not.
And it takes place in the Shit Show universe, right, Adam?
It's very much canon and it's in continuity. It's nuts. Yeah, you might see some characters that pop up there, pop up somewhere else. You never know, but it is a in canon story.
So whose idea, I know you said that you've been working on the Christmas story and stuff, but whose idea was it to do the flip book? Was that you? Was that Scout?
That was Scout's idea because I had done the Christmas story kind of without letting them know. So that was kind of my bad. But I love Christmas so GD much. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing a Christmas story. Everyone loves Christmas stories. And as soon as I thought Christmas, the idea popped into my mind just super quick. And I wrote the script out in an hour. I'm like, all right, man, there's one page turn in there that convinced me I was going to get this produced one way or another. So we did the art and I kind of pitched it and Scout decided to do the flip book route and can't believe they actually decided to print it because it's bonkers. It's kind of nutty a little bit.
It is nutty. Santa makes an appearance, I'm pretty sure.
Santa first appearance. Santa Claus's first appearance.
Yeah.
Nicholas Chris Kringle is his name in the Shit Show universe.
So now your plan is this isn't a one-shot backup story. Your plan is to do one of those every holiday.
That's the plan, man. As long as holidays are here and as long as I'm here and as long as people are buying comics, that's the plan. Who knows? The way this year's gone, the sun's probably exploded earlier today and we're about to all fizzle, anyways. But
we'll never get to sell any of these books.
Yeah, right. So it doesn't matter. But
but yeah, and I just want to show this cover off again because it is, a cool contrast to the other cover. But I just love and actually this is the image you used for the Christmas cards.
Did you I'm not sure if I've sent yours out yet. It might be going out tomorrow. But yeah, here's the Christmas cards.
And what I love about that, Adam, you actually Scout did do Christmas cards with some of their properties, but the Shit Show ones, you made yourself, did you not? I
did make those, yep.
This guy, man.
Well, I didn't draw them by anything because I sent them to the printer and I got them printed. But
that's a lot of effort. I mean, Steven designs everything here, but Bren sends it to the printer and we give Bren all the credit. So know.
Right. So yeah, it's Scout has theirs too through their web store thing. We're doing mine. I think most of the subscription boxes get some.
Yes, and the subscription boxes this month, the chance in the past it was VHS covers. I believe a few of them are going to have this. Yes. We do have 5 of these. 6. I don't know. I ordered a lot of Adam's book. I don't know why. We're crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's your money, man. Sweet.
But we have about 6 of these in store. They are priced up a little bit. I want to say we're going to put them at $19.99. Don't quote me on that just yet. But like I said, these are not on eBay. You know, I know with the VHS variants, those blew up and were everywhere. We checked eBay real quick before the show just to see if anything was on there. Your book, Adam, whether with an I or an asterisk, is hard to find on the internet sometimes.
I know, man, and I someone tweeted that at me this morning. I'm like, yeah, that's the millionth time I heard that. I know I shouldn't have done it, but
No, and you know, man, I think everything has its. I don't want to say everything has its own market. That sounds like the wrong word, but there's going to be people that will buy this just because of the name. You know,
totally.
That fan base exists.
That's the thing. It's certainly not an all ages book, so it's kind of our thought just to jump as much into the shit show aspect of it as we can, to see how far we can take it without getting in trouble.
And you naming it shit show helped us pretty much confirm that we were going to do store exclusive, because we do a show tomorrow at 5:30, which I am the producer on the back end, but that show as a whole is just a shit show. So, you know, we'll just probably line the whole studio with your book.
Oh yeah. No, that's great. No, and that's the thing. I couldn't believe no one had done that before. And I just as soon as I don't remember what came first, either the name or the circus aspect of it.
I feel like they had to have come close to the same time, though.
Yeah, I think they might have been hand in hand. Shit show might have been before, because the idea started off as the Gallaghers with superpowers, and then I added the circus thing in.
But it all makes sense. It's funny to hear you say that it kind of came piece by piece. But like you said, the Gallaghers with superpowers. Well, if he needs to have a day job, he wouldn't be a journalist or a billionaire like Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne. Probably would just be an alcoholic carny. You know, like, I mean, it kind of is the day job.
He's got the marketability, man. He's got the branding. He's got the brand name.
He's P.T. Barnum, right?
Yeah, and it's not like he's not like Elon Musk famous. Yeah. He sells his name to the 20 people in some mid-market town who still care about it. It's like going to a Boston concert in the year 2020. You know, it's like going to whatever. I almost said Billy Joel, but Billy's still a good catch. But
Boston, Billy probably got a little bit more.
Right, yeah. But I went to Boston. Well, that was probably 5 years ago now. And I was the youngest person there by 60 years, probably. So, good show nonetheless. But
I was gonna say, probably great. I mean, I'd pay money and I'd go watch like Chicago or something, but I'd definitely be the youngest guy in there by like $1 million.
Exactly.
So before I let you go, and I'll ask a comic related question after this, but you're in Iowa. What's the weather like over there?
Cold as hell, man. Up until this week, it was really nice. We had some snow back like around Halloween, but that melted in like a day, and it got really nice. Like last week was like in the 60s, but this week it's cold as shit. It's December weather now, so I'm not sure if we'll get a white Christmas. Normally we do eventually. But it's weird that we haven't gotten any snow yet. It's just frigid.
Frigid. There you go. So, again, guys, the book is Shit Show #1. Finally, after what was probably the longest year in Adam's life, it is coming out. We have A covers. We have, again, a couple of the Christmas flip book. My favorite color is green, so I'm not gonna lie. Having the outline here, like that. I mean, I'd buy stickers of that trade dress.
Okay, we'll have to make that happen.
We also have the store exclusive Shit Show, which reminds me, we are going to be sending. I don't know the number. It's going to be a lot. Adam will have a box show up at his door in like a week, but we're going to be sending a good amount of these over to Adam to get signed, so that we can have them in store for hopefully when we have Brian Silverbacks here to sign them as well. We did put in our pre-order, and granted, behind the scenes, I'll work with Adam, but I've talked to our CGC rep. We can get yellow label signatures for books that Adam signs. So I just need to talk that out with Adam. But anybody that would like a yellow labeled, whether it be the Shit Show store exclusive, the Christmas book, or just an A cover, we can do those yellow label as well. Just let us know before the books get back from Adam. And again, Adam, just tell people the quick synopsis of the book as they'll be coming into the stores tomorrow to pick it up.
There were heroes. There are no longer here. Well, there are very few heroes, and those that are left formed a traveling circus until the shit hits the fan when that big old boy with the 3 heads in the middle of the fire comes back to town to kind of mess crap up.
Yes, sir. And we will have all of the covers. We also have the retailer and the web store exclusive here in the store. All of them starting tomorrow. And
very nice.
Best of luck, Adam. I'm sure you're going to be not sleeping tonight just thinking about how many millions of copies you're going to sell tomorrow.
Oh, I wish. Let's start with dozens. I'll be thrilled with dozens. Let's start there.
We already got like a dozen store exclusive pre-sold, man.
Look at that. I already met my goal then. That's cool.
Cash the check, dude.
Cash the check, man. Sweet.
But yeah, thank you so much, Adam. Best of luck with the book. We'll probably bring you back on the show at the end of the first story arc to see how it all went down.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thanks, Danny.
Yep. Take it easy, man. Have a good one. So that has been our 22nd episode of the Collective Spotlight. I want to thank both of our guests. I want to thank Dr. Barron Bell, professor of lots of comic-related things over at Liberty University, and writer and artist of Dominion. Dr. Bell was awesome today. And then we segued from Dr. Bell to the always interesting Adam Barnhardt. And we opened up our store exclusive of Shit Show, the Goonies homage. What I love about this, not only is it a Goonies homage, not only is it the collective store exclusive, not only does it have my favorite quote from the Goonies ever there, but the Goonies is Adam Barnhardt's favorite, movie growing up. So this is double awesome for me. It's something cool that we can have as our own for the store, but it also means a lot to Adam. So if you get a chance, grab these. They are $9.99 for members, $14.99 for anybody else, and we will have these here. If you want it signed, let us know, and we will be shipping out some books to Adam here at the beginning of next week. Take it easy, and remember, we have the Collective Happy Hour $1 auction tomorrow with all of these great books, plus a Robert Kirkman number 17 of a book that's name is escaping me right now, but I'm sure all of you know exactly what it is by that description. So take it easy, guys, and we will see you tomorrow.